So good afternoon and welcome to our Windchill webinar series, where today's topic is going to be on project management with Windchill. And our whatchamacallit, our leader today for the webinar is Shane Rigger, who is a solutions consultant and applications engineer with PTC's Virtual Center of Excellence. My name is Rob Romanowski, and I am the Director of Sales Operations with 3HCI. And every month, we want to bring you some informative webinars regarding PLM as well as CAD. So we're going to do at least 2 webinars per month that you will receive these invitations to. We're seeing a good amount of turnout, so we're glad to know that things are going well, or we're doing something right, rather. So without further ado, Shane, I'm going to let you have control. I can see your screen. Then we can get started. If anybody has any questions, feel free to type those into the question and answer box. And we will try to answer those as we go, but we'll definitely answer them at the end of the presentation. So Shane, take it away, and thanks for helping us out.
Of course. Yeah, and like Rob was saying, today what we're going to be doing is going over Project Link, which also talks on data collaboration. So with Project Link, what this is it's a sandbox environment that allows for you to have secure collaboration as well as project management tools. So being able to manage any projects, whether it be within internal, external stakeholders, and of course, it's all going to be secure within the one platform. So some of the challenges around being able to collaborate with data starts with the market demand. So a lot of markets are looking for these specialized type of products, and that OEM needs to be able to adjust accordingly. There's an existing supply chain complexity because of the new parts that are becoming smaller, or they have more specialized components. And because of that, you need to be able to have different supply chains, and that can add to complexity, of course, in the grand scheme of things. And there's also a growing need for increased collaboration with either your supply chain or external collaborators. So with those specialized components and the supply chain, you need to be able to make sure that there's collaboration in place for that information. So our solution to that within Windchill is with Project Link. And what this does is it provides a universal data access to your supply chain so that they can come into your system and work with that information you have within Windchill while being able to control those accesses for the information. So being able to see everything within one single area, one single repository, so that you can then grab that information more efficiently. And if there is any auditing that needs to occur, or if you need to compare your past versus present information, you have that traceability because it's a system of record that you're keeping within Windchill. Okay, now going into the demonstration portion, what I'm going to be covering today is Project Link, of course, so understanding how projects could be managed within that sandbox environment and how the secure collaboration works within those tools as well. So what we're seeing here is the Windchill home screen for a user that's logged in, if you're unfamiliar with Windchill, and we're just signed in under Peter. So Peter could be a project manager, might have some accesses that other users wouldn't have, and we want to be able to understand how our projects are managed. So what we do is you just come over to the left-hand side and open up your browsing tab. Within the browsing tab, you have the projects. So any recent projects that this user has access to, and this is where you can start to understand how access control works as well. So if a user doesn't have access to a project, it's not going to pop up within their managed projects. You can also expand that out. So from here, whenever you open up the projects, you can first see the overall view into any of those projects. So the current status of them, of course, the name, who owns them, the completion status, when they were last modified. And what that's doing is firstly giving you high-level overview information into that, and then of course allowing you to then dig deeper into each of those projects. If you're wanting to create a new project, it's very straightforward. You can come up to the top left-hand side, select on new project, and then it's going to guide you through the creation of that project. So let's say that every time a user added a new project and you wanted the name and the template and maybe an invitation message to be included within this process, you can set those requirements indicating that they're going to be required fields. And then digging a little bit into one of the projects, firstly, we'll just expand our project within the browsing tab, and then we'll jump into the details. So within the details, within Windchill, for any object that you're opening, what this is going to provide to you is high-level overview information into what you're viewing. So in this case, this is high-level overview information into the project that we're viewing. You can see, again, the state that it's in, the current status, who owns the project, when the changes were made, if there was last modified date, things of that nature. And then prevalent throughout the system as well as being able to take quick action on what you're viewing. So in this case, for projects, if you needed to add in any new parts, baselines, if you needed to save as a template, you can take quick action on that as well. And then between each project, similar to how you would be managing your different products, you also have your folder structures. And within the folder structures in Windchill, again, it's a very straightforward but valuable tool to have. So it's set up exactly like a Windows File Explorer, where you would have your folders within folders, and then of course objects down below those levels as well. And then with the objects managed within the projects, they're, like I'd mentioned, it's a sandbox environment. So they're not actually going to be making changes to the actual part or assembly or document that you're managing. It's going to work, you're going to be making those changes to the environment, the project environment. And then what you can do is you can then push that back into the actual product or part or document that you're managing. So again, it's allowing for that sandbox environment to really work for you, allow you to make those type of changes that are going to be necessary without having to worry about making a detrimental change to that object. So what we're doing now is we check this object out to work within this project environment, and we can see that the version actually changed. So now we're on A-1.1 instead of that A.1. And then, like I said, you can come in, make any changes. Everything that was relevant to this object would be viewable within here. So the history for changes that have occurred during this project, this checkout, one would say. And then, of course, like I mentioned, checking this object back in would then update the version and history for that object and any changes that occurred. And something also valuable to touch on is if you had a workflow set in place for this. So let's say a user came in and they made a change to this object and you wanted to make sure that there was a correct review process in place. This could also go through that review process automatically and make sure that every user that needs to be involved in that review is involved within that process. So once you go in and make that check-in, like I mentioned, it's going to update automatically for the version and history that have changed over time. So here you can see the history for this object. You can see that it was then checked in from the project that it was being worked in, and then also who made that modification. So all of that information is automatically being tracked for you as users are coming in and making those changes. And then, of course, it's a very secure platform. So if you needed to have that security in place for the different documents or folders or objects that you're storing within Windchill, it's again a very straightforward process. If somebody has access to make if somebody has the access to make these changes, they can quickly come into the different folders, objects, parts, documents, whatever it's going to be, and then change and manipulate who has access and what type of access they do have to that information. And you can also do this down from the folder level, even down to the object level as well. So again, you're not having to reach out to your IT admin to be able to make these sort of changes. It makes it very quick and efficient to do so. And then, like I mentioned, you can also do this down to the object level as well. So if you simply just right-clicked on that object, you can go down to your edit access controls and then choose which users or user groups has which accesses to this object. So being able to get extremely granular in that type of control. So now let's say you're working within a project and you wanted to create a new part within the project. So again, the sandbox environment that you're working in, you don't want to have to worry about making any changes to the actual product you're working on. It's very simple. Again, you're just coming in, adding a new part in this case, and then going through the necessary steps and including whatever information is going to be most valuable for adding in this new part in this case. So naming conventions, the source of it, the location, if it had a specific location that you're wanting this to be saved in, and then you're just simply completing that, and then it would be brought into this project. So the idea is you can make any changes necessary for any of the parts or objects, again, documentation even that you need to make within the project without having to worry about making any changes to the actual objects. And then of course you can send this new added part into your PDM or your products that you're managing. Then within the projects, there's also planning. So with the planning, this is more so for project planning, project execution. Again, opening up the plan details overview. It's giving you that important information. So the work completed percentage, the estimated start and finish time on this. Again, this would be everything that you would set up whenever you're creating a plan within a project. And then of course, being able to take quick action as well. So having different views into the same information. If you needed to export or import a plan for reuse, you have flexibility in being able to do so very quickly through that Actions tab. And then with your plan, you can, of course, create a schedule as well. So with the schedules, the idea is that you're showing what needs to be done within the plan that you have. You can have different steps being included down below the different processes. You can expand that out to see what that would look like. So from here, you can see the high level project you have, the different plans or initiations that you have, and everybody that's tied to those tasks within the plan or the schedule. So using 30 to 32 on the left-hand side as an example, you can see on the far right, you can see the resources or the people that would be involved with that specific part of your plan that you schedule out. And then from that, of course, being able to see a high level overview into that plan. So the work complete percentage, how long it's been, so the duration, estimated start and finish time on that, really allowing you to not just include your CAD data, documentation, anything such as that into the system, but then also being able to plan your projects around that information. And then, like I said, having different views into that same information that we just saw. So you also have Gantt charts that are quickly accessible from that information that you're providing. And then you can also break this view down to see the information that's associated with your plan or schedule that you have. And then lastly, for your planning, of course, your schedule, you have different actions as well that you can take within here. So if you're needing to add in any new activities, edit, outdent, indent, anything of the nature for being able to manage your schedule here, the quick actions are extremely effective and efficient for being able to do so. Then moving on with the projects that we're working with, there's also teams. So within the team section for a project, it's the same, set up the same way as the different products that you would be managing within Windchill. So from here, what you're able to do is create user groups, and then of course adding users to those user groups. And then this is how you're assigning the accesses that those user groups and users would have. So for example, you have your designers down here. If you wanted your designers to only have access to your design folder under your folders that you have, you can restrict access to that folder. So it really allows you to be granular in who has what information when they have it, especially if you're working with different vendors or suppliers, allowing them to have the access that they need when they need it. If you're needing to add new users, again, it's very straightforward and a valuable tool to have. So instead of reaching out to your IT admin, you can simply add a new member, come in, find the member, whether it's by their name, username, email, organization name, however you have them organized, and then being able to quickly add them to a role and give them the access that they would need. And there's a lot of out-of-the-box roles that you can use or utilize within Windchill. If that's not enough, you can also add your own roles into the system. And this is what that would look like. So here are the out-of-the-box roles, like I was mentioning. Again, if you have your own naming conventions or you just want to add your own roles, you can of course do so also. So there's a lot of roles here that you can see. And then, like I said, if you have your own naming convention, you can add that as well and then have configurations for those user groups that you're creating. And then in terms of being able to actually configure the action for the roles, so choosing which groups in this case have access to what information, this is what that would look like. Again, very straightforward. On the left-hand side, you have your different actions that the groups can take. and then you have your user groups at the very top. So for example, you can even see that in this case, the guest, we don't have the option to change whether or not they can create a folder, modify teams, edit access control, and there's a reason for that. So the idea is that your IT admin would give a specific user, so in this case, Peter, we would give Peter access to make some changes like this, but there's some limitations to what we want them to be able to do. So Peter can't accidentally ever come in and allow a guest to be able to create a folder, modify a team, things of that nature. So there's a lot of security involved with being able to set up an environment like this and be able to quickly have access to do so. And then within projects, reuse within Windchill is extremely valuable. So whenever you're creating different objects or different file structures or folder structures, it being able to reuse that information, like I said, it's a valuable tool. So it even goes down to the different templates that you can create. If you had a presentation template, so anytime somebody were to import a new presentation that you're managing within Windchill, you can set up templates for that type of information. And again, creating a new template or a new document template is very straightforward as well. It's going to guide you through that process, making sure that you're including all the necessary information. And that could also be valuable. Let's say you have a new user to Windchill and they want to come in and add new information. It's making sure that new and experienced users are including everything necessary to have the organization that you need for anything being brought into the system. Okay, then the last thing we have to cover today are reports within projects. So reports are, there's out of the box reporting within Windchill. So again, templates for reuse are going to be valuable. You can create your own reports and then of course create templates from that as well. So coming into the templates for your reports or coming into your reports that you have within your project, you can see the descriptions for all of those that you've already created. And of course, like I mentioned, you can create your own reporting, create your templates for those. So being able to reuse within the system is extremely valuable. And then before we wrap up, I want to talk about how this can benefit anybody that's trying to have that safe and secure collaboration. So firstly, you have users are able to get access to the information they need of course, in that secure environment. And you also have fast and accurate data that you're sharing, all while also having the security built in to make sure that the correct people are seeing that information, like I'd mentioned. So if you're collaborating more effectively, then you can get to market faster because the level of collaboration that Windchill's data sharing brings. And of course, you have more traceability with whether it be an internal or an external stakeholder to the different products and projects, which of course will help with the following compliances throughout your organization. Okay, so that's all I had to cover today for the demonstration for Project Link. Were there any questions from anybody about anything that we've covered up to this point?
Shane, great job on this. One of the sentiments that I want to echo with one of the things that like we're doing, what we're seeing rather with our customers regarding Windchill is it's all about data. So most companies that we're seeing, if they're actually being honest with us, when they do become honest with us, they realize that their data is a mess, and then what they realize is that it's more of a mess than what they anticipated it to be. And in managing that data, this is where Project Link comes in, because with the roles that people need to be involved to manage products, they need to have access to data. They need to understand the data, the right data, not just, there's certain things that they need to be apprised of, certain things that they don't need to be apprised of. And there's other elements of Windchill that can be added through ThingWorx Navigate that can assist people in getting the information that they need while getting through the information that they don't need, so they can get specifically what they need so they can better manage projects. And when everybody is better informed and better collaborating with the data, the right data at the right time, then that's how you're able to move forward, meet deadlines, get new products introduced faster, and basically remove a ton of roadblocks in your product development processes or new product introduction processes. So if you want to see a more detailed or have a one-on-one private session for any type of demonstration regarding Windchill, whether it has to do with Windchill project management and collaboration or any other aspect of Windchill, you can just respond to the email that was sent inviting you to this webinar. They come directly to me. I can set that up with you. Or you can email us at info@3hti.com. So I will have this recording up on YouTube probably today, at the latest tomorrow, and I will send this out to everybody who had registered. So once again, thank you everybody for being on. Shane, thank you for a great presentation and overview. Hope everybody found this valuable, and look forward to hosting you again in 2 weeks for our next PLM webinar. Thanks everyone. Take care.